I'm scrolling through my YouTube feed, and this post shows up. Posts will show up on your YouTube feed. It's Doc Dark. And apparently, he says, shout out to my dude. And he mentioned someone and said, he asked me a question here. And here's the best I can do. And so once I looked at the, content of the question, apparently this person was talking about how it's getting harder and harder to, take Doc's takes seriously, right? And then he said that Doc is mentioning something about, PlayStation games or PlayStation blocking games from going to Xbox. And then he asked, can you show me, the game that Sony kept from Xbox? Now, for some strange reason on desktop mode. Oh, wait, hold on. On desktop mode, you can't really see the images very well. You'd have to go on Doc's post to pretty much see it. But if you want, let me go ahead and read the details for you so that we can see what this person is accusing Doc of and what Doc says as a response. And I read, in quote, "This is why it's getting harder and harder to listen to these takes by Doc. Where's your proof that Sony is keeping games off Xbox? You put these opinions out there and then your audience believes it." Then he said, "I'm on X with you. Can you show me the games Sony kept from Xbox?" Now, Doc basically went ahead and replied. And you know what's crazy? This user said, "Doc Dark, I'm just seeing this, but whoa, baby, how 2 hours can look a little different. Gears on PlayStation?" And they never addressed the response that Doc gave. Actually, the response that Doc gave was this. He posted an article from March 3rd, 2023 from The Verge, which said Sony might be forced to reveal how much it pays to keep games off Xbox Game Pass. So he could have done this. This is what he could have done. He was not far from the truth, which he asked for. Sony might be forced, and then just look it up, to reveal how much it pays to keep games off of Xbox. So apparently, they've basically been paying for blocking rights in this particular situation to keep games off of Xbox. Another thing too, and this is the Doc. I hope you're learning very carefully that one thing that scatters PlayStation fanboys faster than anything else, like sunlight on vampires, is basically bringing evidence to them. Some of them have the tactic of sidestepping. They'll pretend like you never said anything. They'll go point to something that's far off. You'll be talking about Earth. They'll jump to Pluto and be like, "Ha ha ha, it's cold out here." That's one way that they go. Another way is to basically go ahead and deflect. Another one that they do is distract. Another one is that they continue to increase the burden of proof when you don't have to give any burden of proof. Does that make sense? Like, you remember when Phil Rosenberg did the little PlayStation blog interview, right? The senior VP of Global Partner Development Relations. Do you remember that when he said that their team, the GPDR, which is their job is to acquire third-party content for PlayStation's portfolio, when he said that these games that they worked with, such as Genshin Impact, Black Myth Wukong, Stellar Blade, right, and Stray, which were all in some way or form or fashion exclusive to PlayStation, do you know that PlayStation fanboys told me that they need me to show them the contract that was signed with the Wukong developers? That's what these PlayStation fanboys said. And they also pretended like they forgot that Crimson Desert's developers, also denied Sony exclusivity when Sony was about to pay them to block an Xbox release for at least a year. This person that asked you this question, you just basically gave him one photo and said, "Here you go." They didn't even acknowledge the photo, and that's what everybody here was calling them out for and said, "Bro, you didn't even..." This person said, "Wait, what does a remaster of a 20-year-old game going to PS have to do with Sony keeping games from Game Pass?" It's just fake console wars. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people jump on here and they want to just go, "Oh, yeah," and then you say, "Oh, well, here's the evidence," and they just act like it never really hit or registered. Is it dishonesty? What is going on, guys? What in the world is going on? Are we here to actually get the truth to the matter, or does somebody want to sit here and justify why they bought themselves a box? And you know what's crazy is a lot of people can just simply go buy an Xbox. Like, if if you really want what Xbox is doing, or if you really want, to engage in other things or whatever it is, you can simply go buy one. If the straw that broke the camel's back for PlayStation for you was that they blocked games from Xbox and you couldn't believe it that they would do something like that, and now that you found out, well, what are you going to do about it? Nothing. You just basically were pretending like, PlayStation wasn't blocking games from Xbox. Now, here's the crux of the matter. For years, I don't know, I wouldn't say for years, since I've started doing this content, one thing I've heard is that developers, were skipping Xbox. Especially in some cases where, the developers were just not working with Xbox in that regard, right? That was the narrative. The narrative was, oh, devs are skipping Xbox. Developers are skipping Xbox. Or if a game did not show up on Xbox, well, it's because the developers didn't care. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, they said. Only for us to come ahead and find out, oh, wow, that these developers are basically getting money in some cases, right? Rather, than actually them just skipping the ecosystem. It's weird. In fact, in some cases, the developers will gaslight even people to make it seem like it's Xbox's fault that they're skipping them. And I'll give you another example. Let me show you the developers of this game called Inotria. The game has gone into basically a memory hole. Nobody remembers it, but I do remember it because it was a peculiar situation. Gematsu wrote this article March 21st, 2024. Inotria, the last song, launches August 21st. Xbox Series version no longer planned. Now, why? Italian Souls-like RPG Inotria will launch on PlayStation 5 and PC via Steam and Epic Games. Right? Let me go ahead and save this bookmark. A demo is coming soon. I played the demo on PC. I didn't even know that they weren't, I didn't even know what they were much about. I was like, oh, this game is okay. Xbox Series version is no longer planned and will be reassessed post-launch. Here's a message from the CEO, Jackie Grieco, regarding the release announcement and canceled Xbox Series Xbox Series release. He said this: I'm proud of the work that the entire team has accomplished, especially when considering that we're an indie company of just 60 people. In contrast to the numerous Souls-like games that have been recently developed, including outsourcing assistance numbering over 700 individuals, during the transition from Unreal to 5, we managed to expand the game and elevate it in terms of content quality, going beyond the expected AA standards. Presently, the game offers, multiple and then they said this. Where did he say it? That's just a long post. He says, a demo will soon be released on a PS5, Steam, and Epic Store, affording potential buyers an opportunity to experience the game before making a purchase. We're confident that it will be enamored with it and will also provide us valuable feedback. Regarding the release of the Xbox version, we've decided, in the interest of ensuring a superior experience for PC and PlayStation 5 players, to reassess the possibility of an Xbox release post-launch. Okay. They came out and said, yo, we're going to work on a PC and PS5 version, and we're going to skip Xbox. So, when they realized that something was probably amiss, they then came out, and an article from PlayStation Lifestyle, Zarmina Khan, said, another RPG dev says they're skipping Xbox because of Microsoft. Do you guys see this? Do you guys see what's going on in the gaming industry and what was going on as of last year? When it came down to it, it says yet another upcoming video game has become a de facto PlayStation exclusive because developers are skipping Xbox due to Microsoft's non-cooperation and lack of communication. The developer said and complained that it's been completely ignored by Microsoft while Sony helped with the game's PS5 development. It appeared that these guys took an exclusivity bag and pre-orders did not look good. Or they got some concession and it just did not seem good for them and probably went back and said, nah. In fact, here's the beautiful thing. They then came back after saying that they wanted to go ahead and prioritize the development of other platforms. They then came out and started to sing their love for the Xbox community. Oh my gosh, you can't make this stuff up, guys. They said, we believe that Xbox is blessed. Bro, help me out. After saying, they have an important update regarding Xbox and the physical version, you can read the message. Somewhere they said, we believe Xbox is blessed with a huge gaming community and we would love to release it no on your platform as fast as possible. Just a moment ago, y'all were taking your time. You were. Now you want to release the game as fast as possible, as we spent a lot of money and resources to make it happen. But this task is nearly impossible. Microsoft taking months to reply us when we have the game ready for submission. And then they said, if you'd like to help, please let Xbox know about our situation. If we had a dedicated Xbox account manager, help us out. This issue would not exist. Thank you so much. So when they got ghosted by Xbox, because for some strange reason, they were taking their time to reassess, the possibility of an Xbox release post-launch, they freaked out. That's when I knew the gaming industry had changed. When I saw those developers come crawling and begging for somebody out there to help them with the Xbox launch of their game that they had basically said, we'll take our time. That's when I got the indicator that this industry is no longer the industry, that anybody can come out here and say, oh, Sony is paying money or not paying money to block games from going to Xbox. Doc, these folk, the best thing that you can do in any encounter that you have is to just provide them with the evidence. That's it. Thanks for watching the video. Peace out.